What's up everybody, Teancum here with Sew Yeah Quilting. In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how you make these toilet paper covers. Let's get started. As we're diving into this project, I want to tell everyone how this came about. So here at Sew Yeah, we have an abundance of elastic, and on top of that, probably just like everyone else right now, we have an abundance of toilet paper. So I wanted to make something that combined the two of them, so that's why we have these toilet paper coverings that will look really good on the top of the toilets, so on and so forth in the bathrooms. So let me show you how you make these. So all you're gonna need for this project today is 2 pieces of elastic. I've got them both right here. A fat quarter. We're gonna use our snow gnomes today. And what we're going to do is the very first thing, we're going to open up our fat quarter here. Open them all the way up. And we're going to cut this to be perfectly square. So we're looking for 18 by 18. Obviously fat quarters can be a little bit different, but I'm going to go ahead and iron this all out right now. Then I'm going to cut it down to 18 by 18. So I've got my gnomes here. I'm going to cut this down to be 18 by 18 inches. Now, the best way that I've found is to line up your salvage, cut off your salvage, and then base everything off of your salvage. Let me grab a ruler here and a rotary cutter, and we'll get this cut. So first I'm going to just take off my salvage. Which gives me a nice clean line there. I want to make sure this stays pretty square, so I'm going to line this up with my mat here. I'm going to trim this edge up just a little bit, nothing too crazy. Now that I've got 2 edges that are square, I can finish up squaring the rest of it. And again, I'm saying 18 by 18. It depends on how big your fat quarter is. I mean, sometimes you have a fat quarter that's 18 and a quarter. Some fat quarters are only 20 inches wide as opposed to 22 inches wide. So the biggest that you can make your fat quarter being square. In this case, in my case, it's going to be 18 by 18. So I've got it pretty much squared off here, and I'm going to make my cuts now. My first cut will be 18 inches. And I'm going to turn him this way and cut my next 18 inches, making this a perfectly square piece of fabric. So our next step here. You're going to want to put this right sides together. I have a directional piece here, so I want to make sure that I'm keeping my direction with my direction. I'm not going to fold them this way so my pattern's horizontally. I want it to stay in the same pattern here. I'm going to take this over to the sewing machine and sew a 1/4 inch seam all the way down. I've got my seam here. It's time to flip it right side out, which I'm going to do just like so. And now that I have this seam here, I'm going to iron this down really, really flat. So I'm going to iron this down to make sure my seam is laying on top of itself. Just like so. Now that I have my seam laying on top of itself, I'm going to iron the top here too to make sure everything lays down flat. Perfect. Now what it's time to do is sew a channel on both sides here. What I'm going to use is I'm going to use about a 3/8 of a seam, which I have a mark on my sewing machine for 3/8 of an inch that I'm going to just line my fabric up with. So we got our first seam in. Now we're going to do the same thing on this side. just like so. So now that we have our seams sewn in, it's time to now get our elastic through our channel here. If you have a turn stick, that's the best way to do it, is just stick the turn stick through, or you can do it the old school safety pin method, which is what I'll be using today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick my safety pin in and start pulling this through. So now I got my piece through, I'm going to just use my rotary cutter here and cut off my excess. And what you want to do is you just want to tie this like so, or just do a couple simple knots here. When you're pulling it together, you want to leave about 10-ish to 11 inches of your elastic inside of here. That way you can open this up and get your toilet paper through. So I'm going to leave it just like that. And you want to do a triple knot here. Tie it 3 times, make sure it's in there, or if not, you'll lose it. I'm going to grab a little pair of scissors here, and I'm going to cut off my tails of my elastic. Just like so. So that is where our toilet paper is going to go in. Now it's time to do the exact same thing, but with our smaller piece of thread or elastic here. This part's a little bit more tricky since there's not very much elastic to get it through the toilet paper cover, but still very possible. So once I start getting close to the edge here, maybe I only have about, I don't know, 1/4 inch, maybe 1/2 inch left. I take it to my sewing machine and just do a couple stitches forward and backwards. That way I won't lose my elastic into my little channel I have here. So I'm gonna keep threading this through. Perfect. Now that we got through the other side, we're gonna again tie them together. Ooh. And you want to pull them really, really tight so the hole almost closes up. And then you're gonna do your triple knot like we did on the other side. So gonna do that right now. One more knot. And our last little knot here. Just to hold it in place again, cut off your tails. Which then leaves you with this itty bitty hole on top. And I hope everyone can see that there. Now, it's time to finish this project up. Very, very easy to do. We're going to put our seams, you can see my seam here, I'm gonna line them up with each other, and we're gonna finish this off with a French seam. So, how to do a French seam, they're not very difficult to do. I'm gonna stick this right here underneath my sewing machine. You wanna sew maybe like an 1/8 of an inch seam, just a really, really small seam to get everything sealed up. Now we can flip it right side out or inside out, and we're going to fold our seam on top of itself, just like so. Just like so. Everyone can see that. So we're folding our seam right on top of itself, and then we're going to sew like a 3/8 inch or 1/4 inch down our seam here, which will encase the seam that we just did, which then gives a really nice finished edge look on it. Just like so. So now we've got this seam here that's encasing our first seam that we did, which is called a French seam. Now we're gonna fold it right side out again. We're gonna clean up any excess threads that we have, because we did do a lot of seams there right in the same spot. And now it's time to put it on our toilet paper here. Really simple to do. We have this bottom open here. It's got a little bit of stretch on it to hold everything in. And you just pull it right over the top of your toilet paper. We're gonna stuff it down in it. And it's just gonna slide right on, just like so. You line up the little hole with the tube of the toilet paper. Then what you do, you have a little bit of extra here, and we do that for a reason. That way we can push everything to the middle, which then holds everything real nice and tight of our roll. It is that simple. This is a really fun, fast, easy project to make, and let's be honest, everyone has toilet paper, fat quarters, and elastic laying around somewhere in their house. But if you liked this video, hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and don't be afraid to share it with your friends. As always, we're going to leave instructions on how to make this project down in the description below. My name is Teancum, teaching you how to sew like a pro. We'll see you here next week at Sew Yeah Quilting.